Hi everyone. In this tutorial, we're going to look at the absolute basics getting started in Adobe InDesign and using a menu design project as a way to get familiar with the layout and placing text, making shapes, changing colors, things like that. So this is absolute basics in getting InDesign open. I have InDesign open here. I'm going to go to New File. And again, similar to what you're familiar with in Photoshop or especially Illustrator, but the unit probably will default to PICKLES here. We're going to change that to inches. You can make the page size whatever you want. Now, InDesign is set up for publishing projects. You know, a lot of the features that you'll see, the differences between InDesign and something like Illustrator, this is more tailored towards projects that have multiple pages. So imagine making a magazine, something editorial like that. In this case, we're just going to have one page for a menu design. So I'm going to change the width and height. Just do something a little different, maybe something a little bit more vertical. So height, I will do, let's say 15 inches, and excuse me, I'll put height as 15, and width as, let's just say it's more like 7. And right now I have it 6 pages. We don't need 6. I'm just gonna put in 1, and we can leave everything else as is. I can press, okay, you can also rename it. I'm just gonna type menu design, and then you press create. And this is my menu. Obviously, much more vertically oriented. And then also we have Adobe fonts, which you probably are familiar with at this point. Every once in a while, take a look at Adobe fonts, especially the new releases. There's some good stuff in here. Some of it might be a little bit too much, a little too expressive, not always easy to read, but keep updated with the new fonts and looking around, finding typefaces that you really love, and then installing them. You press to add the family. Once you click on this, you can add family or just add specific fonts. And then the menu text that I'm going to be using for this project is here. It'll also be linked in the description of the video. Not linked, it'll just be copied and pasted in the description of the video. So I'm going to go ahead, before I start copying and pasting anything, I'm going to go back to InDesign and let's take a look around. So at first glance, this will look a lot like Illustrator. One of the main differences is that over here, you'll see a tab that says pages instead of layers. Layers are, you know, the main way to organize files and objects in Illustrator or Photoshop. There are layers still here in InDesign, but it's going to default to showing you pages. I'm actually going to change the workspace to Essentials Classic. So once I change this, you'll see it gives me a lot more tools all around. And then it puts, I have this window here, links, pages, and layers. There's the layers again, but I'm going to keep pages open. We're only using one page, so it's honestly not a big deal. This would be huge if you are making something like a magazine or even a menu with multiple pages. All right, so again, if your workspace doesn't look like mine, I would recommend changing it to Essentials Classic. Okay, so for this project, I'm not going to be adding photos. I'm not going to be adding any other graphics. We're keeping this very minimal, very simple, basically just text, a couple of colors, and then maybe some simple decorative geometric elements like squares, rectangles, lines, circles, things like that. Okay, so first off, we have the type tool, like you're familiar with. Click on that. It's easy to just take your type tool, click once, and start typing like in Illustrator. But what I'd recommend is both in Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, all of this, don't just click and start typing. Click and drag and make a text box. When you click and drag out a certain size for your text box, it gives you more control over how the text fits within that space. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the sample menu, and I'm going to copy and paste this Appetizers text here. So I Command C on a Mac to copy, Command V to paste. And you'll notice we have the text in here. However, the text box was not long enough for all the text that we see here. So you'll see on the bottom right of the text box a very faint little red square with a plus symbol. That just means that there's extra text that we're not seeing. So if I click on this text box and put my cursor over this little bottom white square, I can click and drag it down, and now we see all of the text completely. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for the next bit. I'm going to close out of this context bar. We got appetizers. Let's put in salads. Salads was pretty short, so I'm just going to decrease the length of the text box. We got two more. We got entrees. I'm going to move this over a bit. I'm actually just going to duplicate it. Double click in the text box. Command A to select all, and then I press delete. It gets rid of it. Now I can Command V, paste the entrees in there. And I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to duplicate. I'm holding down Option, clicking and dragging. You don't have to do it this way. You could just copy and paste it or just make a new text box. This is just keyboard shortcuts that I'm used to using to make things go a little faster. And then finally copy and pasting desserts. But first I'm going to double click in this text box, Command A, select all, delete, Command V to paste the desserts. Okay, so all of our content is in there. Also, again, on Mac, Command semicolon. On PC, it's probably Control semicolon. That will turn off the grids and guides. So we don't see those right now. I'm just going to kind of place this around. So I guess for a project like this, you could name your restaurant whatever you want. You can be creative with it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to have, let's say the name is just menu project. So I'm going to type that in all caps. Okay, so now we have a lot of text everywhere. Now we need to start editing it. With me using Essentials Classic, it gives me all the tools up here. I can change the typeface. Let's say I'm going to do Montserrat, and I'll do bold, and I'm going to make it much larger. I'm going to put it here for now. Okay, so now I have to find a nice layout for this text. First off, everything is just a little bit too big. Like, it just doesn't fit in here. What I will start by doing, right now it's at 12-point text size. I'm going to go down to 10 on all of these. That should save us a little space. So the point size is here. And I might even be able to combine some of these columns. I'm thinking appetizers, salads, and entrees could probably be together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save my progress. I pressed Command S to save. It's also under File and going down to Save. Again, you can save to Creative Cloud. I always save to my computer because sometimes the cloud can't connect well and you don't want to be able to not access your work if you need it. So I'm just going to save it on my computer. And that's going to be the InDesign project file. After we're done, we will export the menu as a PDF. If you are printing a project, you're publishing it some way, you'll never submit the actual InDesign project file. It'll be like .indd, I believe. You'll always export it, and usually as a PDF. So we'll get to that at the end of this. Okay, so I'm starting to get all my text in here. For a good layout, in this case, menu, the principle of having good hierarchy is going to be essential. So hierarchy is, in graphic design, it's about where the emphasis is placed. What is most important? Obviously, things that are larger on the page get more attention, they have more visual weight. Things that are brighter, more colorful, have more contrast, or are different in some way, that also can give emphasis. So, for something like appetizers here, I would want to start by giving the word appetizers a little higher level of hierarchy. So I think I'm going to try semi-bold italic first. Make it a little larger. We'll do 15 for now. It's not bad. Now you'll notice the text itself already, the names, potato cake, spinach dip, they're already all caps. That's another way to add hierarchy. The capital letters over lowercase letters. The capital letters get more attention. The lowercase letters, though, the ingredients, like this one, potato cakes, fried potato, apple jelly, sour cream, that will probably have the least amount of visual emphasis. So I'm going to select that line, make it even smaller. Now I'm going to also do italic. And for the name itself, I'll probably go up to 11. And we'll do medium. Okay, so we're starting to get some hierarchy. Now I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to make the title as bold italic instead of semi-bold. So you can see this layout for the name, the potato cakes, the ingredients. That looks a little bit better. It's a little easier to read than the rest of these that are all about the same size. I know the names of the dishes are all capitals, but it all kind of blends together. We want to differentiate these different lines so that the reading experience is a little easier. I'm also adding another space between appetizers and potato cakes. Okay, so I'm not going to go through and do every single one of these for this tutorial. What I would recommend you make sure you're aware of, I'll show you what's called character styles. This is important. It can save you a lot of time. So you'll notice as I've made these edits to this text right here, it can be a little tedious. I have to go through, click, select things, change the size, do stuff like that. And then imagine I have to do that for every single one of these. You know, it's fine. It wouldn't take too long, but it would be tedious. There's an easier way. Okay, so first off, let me make one more edit here. I'm going to change the color. So for potato cakes, I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to make it, let's just say fully red. Just because it's easy. And maybe for appetizers, we'll do cyan. I think I'm actually going to make appetizers even a little bit bigger. Okay. So as I've made these edits, I can create character styles, which you see I have this window here. If you don't see character styles, you can go up to window and then styles and then click on character styles. So if I select potato cakes and then come to the bottom where there's a little square with a plus symbol, this creates a new character style based off of whatever text I've selected. So I'm going to click on that. I've selected the red potato cakes. I'm going to click on this. I got character style 1. So now this size, this font weight, the color, anything else I do to it, actually I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to increase the tracking. So tracking, the symbol here, this is the space between letters. So just for an example, I'm going to increase the tracking a lot. You see now there's more space between. I'm not necessarily saying this is the best design ever. It's just an example of what you can do. So I'm going to delete the one I made. I'm going to remake this character style. So I'm going to select it, press the new character style button, and now any line of text that I select, let's say spinach dip next, if I come over here and click once on character style, it automatically changes it to match all the characteristics of that character style. This will save you a lot of time, again, especially for consistency. Imagine I'm having to do that for every single one of these menu items. So I don't want to have to go in there, change the color, change the size, change the tracking, change the font for every single one of these. Now I can just select, press character style 1, and just like that, I can very quickly go through all of these. Likewise, let me actually just make this a different color as well. We'll just make it magenta. I'm going to select that, make a new character style. Now character style 2. I can very quickly go through, change all of them. Okay. So when you start doing things that way, it will make your life a lot easier, make the whole process go much quicker. All right, now I want to show some of the options here. So you do have a pen tool, which you should be familiar with. If you're wanting to draw specific shapes, let's say I want to have some sort of zigzag shape. I know I'm just doing it very quickly here, but say I want some sort of zigzag along the side of the menu, I can do that. I'm going to change the color, the weight of it. You also have the regular line tool. You have the ellipse tool. Let's say I want to do some polka dots or something at the bottom. So we're going to keep this very minimal. We don't want to be adding all kinds of crazy stuff all over the place. I still want to show you different ways to add a little life to your menu. Once you get it in a good place, you have all the text laid out, good type choices, good hierarchy, good layout, some decorative elements. You know, you might even want to have a color in the background. So if you go to the rectangle tool, I'll just go ahead and make a rectangle. It's the size of the menu. I mean, right now it's on stroke and no fill. I'm going to turn off the stroke, turn on the fill. And let me just change the color a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. Kind of just an off-white here. Now you'll notice I made this rectangle and it's above all the other shapes, all the other text. This is where you might still have to go into your layers. So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna add a new layer. So I made layer 2. Everything, all the text you see here is on layer 1. So I made layer 2, and right now layer 2 is above layer 1, but I want to make layer 2 below. So when I have layer 2 selected, now I can paste back that solid color, and now that background color is behind all the text. Also, by the way, I know right now you still see these borders of the text box. That will not be exported. If you don't like the way it looks, if it's just kind of getting in the way of you kind of laying out all of these different pieces, you can go to View, Extras, and then Hide Framed Edges. So now we can see better what the menu looks like. All right, so let's say we're all done with our menu and we're ready to export. The export process, very easy. You go up to File, Export, and then I recommend choosing Adobe PDF Print. And you can rename it if you want. Press Save. And then it'll give you some different PDF presets. Any of these should be fine. It probably will default to high quality print. However, this option here, PDF X1A 2001, this is actually the preset I recommend. This is what commercial printers, professional printers, when they take on a design job that you send them, they usually will request the PDF exported in this preset, PDF X1A 2001. When you see that, I'll just make sure you have all these settings as is, all pages, even though we only have one page, so you don't have to worry about it. Then you press Export, and this is the preview in Adobe Acrobat. Again, my menu is definitely not finished. It's not very great, but we're just trying some stuff out for the sake of the tutorial. All right. This is how you get started using some of the tools, laying out text and shapes, colors in Adobe InDesign. Absolute basics. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And good luck on creating your menus.